Shalom, shalom. Bawaqwar, Yasharala, let's get it. All right, Shalom, Yasharala, Yabrakam, Yawabashama Shagal Shai. If you can hear me well, put a 7 in the room. If you cannot hear me well, put a 3 in the room for me real quick. Baba Kushah, just real quick. Shabbat Shalom, Bawaqwar, second day of the week. Happy second day of the week for those that's coming on. All right, today is so-called Monday. All right, second day of the week. Okay. And we're going to get started on viewing a video. All right. And this is for me to do. This is all praise. Shalom, shalom, sisters. Shalom, all praise. David, shalom, David. Are you doing the Y as a I, or are you doing the Y as an E sound? All right. Sister Nadayabia, Sister David. I read differently now. So are you saying the Y character as an E? Okay. Con. You're saying it as an E. Okay, excellent. The B. And you know what? And let me say this: we should say it as a the B. All right. Now this is gonna be a little bit different, right? Y'all know this name, right? I don't have my camera on today, as you all see. All right. Less of me. I want to do more visuals. I just hooked up a new computer too that works faster, right? So this computer doesn't have a camera. So once I get a camera, I'll hook up a camera. But until then, it's Sakari on mine. Y'all see it's Sakari, boy. Yeah. What? Shy, right? So we all know this name, right? We all know the name. Okay. All praise. Hey, Shalom, Howard. Hey, you know what you four can do for me? We only have a few friends and family members watching now. What you all can do for me is you can share. Hit that share button so other people can be aware. I'm going to do a read video on Dr. Martin Luther King. I'm just going to speak on him for a little bit. All right. There's a life trial and tribulation. Life I can never understand. I can never understand Dr. Martin Luther King's life. Michael King. All right. For those of you who don't know, his name is actually Michael King. If you can hear me good, put a 7 in here. If you want me to turn the music down, put a 3 in here. All right. Put in a 3 if you want me to turn the music down. If it's not to your verbal palate yet. Put 3 in the room and I will turn it down. If it's okay with you, leave a 7. What you'll hear is they say all praise. They say Yahweh. They say Yoah all throughout his songs. Kevin Yazzie. So this video is going to be for your listening pleasure, but it's also going to be for your viewing pleasure. All right. And the thing again is because I'm going to share a few videos. And from what I've learned, if I have audio up under my videos, then what it'll do is it'll kind of give us a blanket, like audio blanket. Hey, Howard, man, I really appreciate you, man. I look forward to you teaching, King. I know what you always do. I know what you always are, man. But I'd love to have you on here with me, man. Real spill. All right, so I was looking at this real quick, and before we go to Anderson Cooper's video on Dr. Martin Luther King, that's what we're going to be hearing about. All right, we're going to be hearing about what? We're going to be hearing about the famous speech. All right, just a little bit. We're not going to hear the whole speech at all. All right, we're going to talk about Dr. King's speech and how he even himself changed his own words, which is not a bad thing. All right, I just want to let everybody know this video is not coming down at all on Dr. King at all. I don't want anybody to think that. I did videos in the past where I spoke negatively on Dr. Martin Luther King, and I was wrong for that. And when we're wrong, we got to come back and correct those wrongs. Okay, so when we're wrong, we got to come back and correct those wrongs. So before we get into that, I want to salute my sister. Now, I know her as a different name, but she like we all have the right to, at any time, maybe a circumstance or maybe a change in our life, we might, like, hey, you know what? In this point in my life, I am crumbworm. All right. I'm not Isaiah Yasharala. I'm not Karatazaya. I'm crumbworm. Why? Because we go through life changes, phases, and then we even see in the scriptures our forefathers' names. It will be Moses' mother called him this, but his father called him that, but the people called him this. Moses had like 5 names. Moses had like 5 names and 2 wives that I know of. As far as what I researched, one of his wives he did not have sex with because she was a Hamite. Okay. So yes, it is true that Moses had 2 wives that we know of. But one of them he did not consummate the marriage with. He never had sex with her. He was just married to her by political rights. Okay. So if you want to find out more about that, it's written in the book of Jasher. If you enjoy listening and learning, this is going to be one of those sessions. It is going to be a family-friendly video. It's going to be a family-friendly audio. And the reason being is because we have a lot of people that are not at school right now. All praise. You see it, Sakari on mine. Let's get it. We're going to look at something on Sakari, too. I want to show y'all something cool on Sakari. All right, you might not have known this. I've spoken on it before in the past. We'll look at something cool on Sakari. Real quick, so I asked Sister, Dabi. I asked Sister Dabi. Hey, Sister Dabi, thank you for your comments. Make sure y'all keep commenting because I'm going to comment back. It's going to be a very interactive class. And the biggest thing that y'all can do for me is if you're watching on Facebook, share. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. Share and subscribe. Y'all know me. We don't do it for views. We do it for truth. There are some Israelite camp school communities who actually buy viewers. They buy bots. For those of you that have been knowing me all these years, you've been watching me just slowly accumulate around the world and build friendships, community, stuff like that. So subscribe, share, you know what I'm saying? Help out, help other friends and families learn. So let's look at this real quick. The B. I asked Sister Dabi, I said, are you spelling it with a Y or an E sound? Y or an E? And the sister accurately, by her stance said E. Now the reason why I said that, and then she put the spelling on here, the B. So dah, not duh. As you see, her spelling is phonetically Hebraic correct. Dah, D-A-H. Pronounce it correctly. Dah. And then space B. Dah B. All right. So with that being said, the reason why I asked us, hey, Dawada, all praise. Someone gave me that nickname, Dah B, all praise. So we're gonna go to my points, but I also want to hit on this. All right. So as you see, Dah B, right? Someone gave me that nickname, Dah B, and that's a beautiful nickname, all praise. So watch this. The reason why I asked that is because we all know about this name right here, Yahawashai, right? How do we all spell Yahawashai? How do we spell Yahawashai? We commonly spell Yahawashai with an I, right? Forgive me, I'm not the fastest typer, everyone. Excuse me. All right. We usually pronounce Yahawashai with the spelling of an E-Y-E character, right? We make the I sound, and I've taught this in the past. I've taught this, okay? That the E-Y-E is how it's pronounced. Yahawashai, right? Everybody see that? So this is usually what we know. This is what we pronounce it as Yahawashai. But as we look further into our language, and I know I've spoken this before, I know that our elders have taught us this before, and it was not popular at the time because so many people was waking up, so many people were saying Yahawashai. The scripture says to quench not the spirit. Okay, so we don't want to quench the spirit. That's one thing. Okay, so as we go through and people are growing up, people are being encouraged, people are learning. We, sometimes you just be like, oh, okay, yeah, Yahawashai, okay, but here's the thing. As you look further into the Eastern culture, the I sound, like the I character, actually is an E. It's actually not an I like Yahawashai. It's more like Yahawashi. Yahawashi is more of a closely related translation or transliteration. All right, so I think that that's interesting. All right. I'm going to talk about MLK Yashar Allah. All right. We're going to talk about MLK Yashar Allah. And the reason why I brought up that is a salute to Sister Dabi. All right. Because the Sister Dabi, she's not only a consistent student, and just like us all, we went through this truth, we went through this life, we've had ups and downs, we all having ups and downs. I just found out something. I didn't know that if you get too stressed, your body could get sick and have a reaction. I knew it could happen different ways. I just didn't know that, you know, it would happen to me. So I literally became unclean. I became an unclean leopard. I became an unclean leopard by being too stressed. Isn't that something? We'll get back to that though, but the point of saying is to say we all learn, and as while we're learning, we go through these lessons, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I learned this now, so I'm going to change this to that. And as long as we, come on, the sister said like Bobby, Bobby. That's very smart. That's very smart, like Bobby, the B. Sis, I want to read something for you all real quick. We're going to do a lot. For those of you who don't know, man, the sister Dabi, she's been ministering and rocking in this truth for a long time. Sister Dabi is one of my best students ever. And she has multiplied her understanding and submitted to Yahweh and his Tawara. So I want to get that official salute, all right, and get that acknowledgement. Okay. So salute to you. Just looking at that, the pronunciation name thing, that's really cool, man. So shalom, my Bawaqwar. All right. I want to salute you on that. All right, so let's look at something real quick. All right. We know that we've all been taught that Jesus Christ is white. This is not true, right? This just flat out blatantly not true. There's never been a white Jesus Christ ever. Ever. Now, we're not going to harp on that subject alone. Caesar Borgia. Now, we do know that there was a man whose name was Cesare Borgia, all right? I'm going to share this tab real quick. I pray everybody can see it. All right, for those of you who know, we are the Yasha'alim, the Israelites that the Bible speak of, okay? This man right here is named Cesare Borgia. This is one of the best paintings. This image and the dude with the long head, see, the long face is the Spaniard face, the Batman chin. You know, if Batman had his mask on, Batman, you can't see nothing but my big chin. See, that's the Batman chin. That's the Spaniard chin. This image is the more Caucasian, Western European, whatever they want to be. They can be whatever they change themselves into every culture. All right, pretty soon they're going to be the aliens. Pretty soon they're going to be the ones that's going to be flying the chariots and the drones. Pretty soon they want to be everybody but themselves. Because they have no heritage. They have no lineage. They have lineage. Their heritage is trash, and they know it. And I don't mind saying it because they say it. So I'm going to teach what my teachers teach. I'm going to teach what the white man teaches. Some of my best friends are white. Let me make sure I make that. Some of my best friends are white because they are. I got some really cool Edomite friends. And guess what? They all know that they Edomites through Yahweh Bashem Mashiach Yahushua. And guess what else they do? They send blessings and favor and all kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah, y'all doing what y'all supposed to do. That's what's up. So let me tell you about yourselves. You Edomite, European, Caucasian, Gentile, alien, heathens. What y'all did was rape, rob, and murder the children of Israel scattered throughout North, South, Central America to such a degree that we became ashamed of who we are. You Gentile Edomites even stole the identity of my nationality, and then you stole the identity of my Savior. Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, Yahweh Shi HaMashiach, who the world is sometimes accidentally calls Jesus Christ. Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Shi HaMashiach, who the world sometimes ignorantly and accidentally calls Jesus Christ, was a Negro from the tribe of Yehoiada, from the tribe of Judah. I want you all to see this picture right here. This picture, I know you all know it, so don't shoot the messenger, all you Israelites. Share this to all your Gentile friends. All right? Y'all should all know everything. right? Know everything but how to gather and how to keep a family together. Ain't that something? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah, he said it. All right. You Gentiles raped, robbed, and murdered. And then you were so blasphemous that you painted this man right here, Cesar Borgia, Caesar Borgia. Now, when you look at this, Duke of Valentino. All right. Caesar Borgia, Cesar Borgia, Duke of Valentino, Cesar Borgia, Duke of Valentinos. Let me show y'all something. I don't care when I get other Israelites and they be like, oh, the Edomites ain't Europeans. The Edomites are blue. Okay. They make B. You can call them whatever they want. Watch this. All I'm going to put in is Duke KJV BLB. All right. That's a BLJ. BLB. All right. Now look. All I did was take the word Duke. We got the word Duke from the Britannica Dictionary. Why did we get it from here? Because we went to the name Caesar Borgia. Well, Caesar Borgia, Caesar Borgia, Duke of Valentino. What's that? Valentino was a place. Valentino. He was called the Duke of it. All right. I pray everybody can see this. You primarily have one nationality, race of people that's on this planet that call themselves dukes. And it's so discouraging how Yasha Alim, Israelites, do not want to talk about the dukes. Well, one of our presidents, not Donald Trump. See, some of y'all was about to say Trump. Donald Trump is a Duke of Hazzard. That's what he is. Donald Trump is a Duke of Hazzard. This is what America is about. When he says, let's make America great again, he's trying to bring back the good old General Lee. I pray everybody can see this. He's trying to bring back the good flat booty white girls. No offense against all my flat back sisters. You feel me? I come from the flatlands too. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of beautiful sisters from the flatlands, and no offense. But this is what Donald Trump's trying to bring back. He's trying to bring back the good old General Lee, the good old boar's nest, the good old pig head nest. He's trying to bring back the good old, and as we know, Yasha Allah, America's never been great. It was only great when Yasha Allah was living in it freely in the book of First Ezra. What was that, chapter 14? When we came over here, a year and a half journey. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So when we're talking about the dukes, and we're looking at Cesare Borgia, who was the Duke of Valentino. Well, all we got to do is just go to the Bible. Yes, that's the book for me. Genesis chapter 36, verse 43. You have Duke Megadel, Duke Aram. These be the what? The dukes of who? These be the dukes of Edom. I want to give an apology to Dr. King. I want to give a sincere apology to Zaquan Michael King. And let me tell you all why. Because when Yahweh first had me get active, it was like banging in the street, banging. Man, I started banging on everything I thought was a lie. And some of these things weren't lies. Some of these things were lies that was taught back to us. Some of them were, and we didn't know it. Just like, we learned that we Israelites, and we'd be like, oh, Yahweh Shai, Christ Jesus, he's not white. That was one of the biggest lies that broke our heart. I mean, he's white. He's not white. He's white. That was one of the biggest lies that broke our heart. Right? To finally have it solidified that Christ was a Negro from our nationality, King James is a black man. And this is something that everybody knows. King James was black. King Solomon was black. Christ Yahushua was black. Man, you mean to tell me that you know that Negro smell good? Look at him. Look at him. You know he smell good. This man got a fro with a silver streak in his hair. This ain't CGI. King James the First of Scotland. King James the Sixth and the First. Now, our elder from Lions, I believe, Lions of Israel, LOI, our elder did an excellent breakdown of this. Totally chopped to shreds any thoughts that King James was a sodomite or that King James was a European. We find out something about our forefathers. When I found out that, we always knew Dr. King was a Negro. We just didn't know that King James was. The Dukes of Hazzard, they taught us incorrectly. Then when we went to the Bible, we seen that the Dukes came from a very specific bloodline, the Dukes of Edom. See, the Arabs don't call themselves the Dukes. The East Indians don't call themselves the Dukes. You might have a dog named Duke, a German Shepherd named Duke. But didn't the European nation, who also put Caesar Borgia, the European, in place, didn't they call themselves the Dukes of Valentinos? See, the abomination of this nation is coming to an end. I want y'all to know about Caesar Borgia. First of all, his face was riddled with herpes. His face was riddled with herpes. Caesar Borgia was not a handsome man in the end. Caesar Borgia was a very handsome man in the beginning of his life, in his youth. I don't know. This is an androgynous. This is an androgynous image. You feel me? I don't like that image very much. But I don't like any of these very much. But this image right here is a better representation of the painting Michelangelo did of his lover, Caesar Borgia. Yes, the white man that they painted as Jesus Christ was also a bate boy. He was a mama man. He was a sodomite. He also was an ancestral nasty man who had sex with his sister, and he murdered his own brother, Rodrigo, because his brother Rodrigo was having sex with their sister Lucretia too. So there's a few different things that I keep telling Israelites. I'm talking to everybody now. I used to be the most heathen, man. Listen, man, you Yasha Alim are truly a beloved people of the Most High God. There's two versions of the Borgia movie. This is the one that you want to see. This little puppet, forget him. They're Netflix. If you see him and he's representing Caesar Borgia, this is the Dollar Tree version. They are the 70. Matter of fact, Dollar Tree is like $1.25 up here in Cincinnati, right? So he's like the trying to build a Dollar Tree. You know, we're trying to get our Dollar Tree started. This right here, this heathen right here is the top grade tier Caesar Borgia. That's my homie. That's my nigga right there. That's my guy. My boy. My guy. That's my guy right here. This is this Spaniard right here. Forget him. All right. He's a penny sitting on the ground. Right? We just even pick up pennies, you know, put them in part, whatever. But this handsome, beautiful, striking white man, this doctor that this beautiful heathen right here is who this painting was based off of. He's the actor in the Borgia movie. All right, in the Caesar Borgia, here's the one. Why I'm saying this? Because this heathen did a wonderful job at being as evil as he wanted to be in real life. This man murdered, this man raped, this man did every apostasy that you can think of. And he did it with pristine excellency. So the Borgia family funded their own movie. Yes, the Borgias are in the game Assassin's Creed, which is always why I would like to segue back into my not only white Jesus, but I also want to segue back into my beautiful Sakari. All right, let me go back to my Sakari logo. All right, so let's segue all of this together. I have an imagination. Now, going back to it, this wonderful heathen who did an excellent job of all of the debauchery that the Europeans did, which our elder, our Zaquan, Dr. Michael King, Martin Luther King, who was like Allah, that he so adamantly spoke against. See, I've been in a lot of fights. I'm still in fights today. I plan on fighting till Yahweh calls us home. I don't plan on not hitting or getting hit or fighting for righteousness, fighting emotionally, internally, externally, spiritually, prayer. I don't mind all that because we have to go through this. I've never went through what this elder went through. None of us. So any of you Hebrews that followed the course or the path of me or seen some of my old lessons that spoke negatively on Dr. Michael King, and then they took his doctrine away from him. You know, his body, in case y'all didn't know, this man's body was disrespected. The reports come in that the man wasn't even dead when he made it to the hospital. Wasn't even dead. And these heathens murdered him, but they're not telling you that. I'm going to tell you today because I made a mistake some years back and I spoke against our elder once I was so zealous coming into the truth. So zealous coming into this truth. Oh, Dr. King was a communist. Dr. King dealt with prostitutes. Dr. King smoked cigarettes. Nigga, I smoke. I ain't never dealt with prostitutes. I don't deal with prostitutes. I think that's corny. I deal with concubines, but so as I reflect back on my life and how nothing I have done, and how this Zaquan, anybody did a smear campaign, can do a smear campaign. I've been a victim of a smear campaign. I'm going to be a victim of more because the servant is not greater than the master. This Zaquan right here went through a life that none of us have went through. And even in his death, when he wasn't dead, he was spit on, he was berated, he was abused, he was beaten while he was shot, waiting for help. Go and check the reports. They're there. The nurses gave reports he wasn't dead. But see, that's a shame on all you so-called black nurses that love your white masters. But you also have women like Shua and Pua who love the children of Israel, who refused in Exodus chapter 1 to abort us by throwing us in the river. If you missed last week's Torah portion, I suggest you go back and check it out. So salute to this Zaquan, and he fought against this wickedness that we are currently in today. Now, did he encourage it? He did, but it was accidental. He didn't know. His speech, he said he feels he led his people into a burning house. We're gonna look at that real quick. We're gonna come back to this man right here because the lies that we found out bothered me so bad that I had to go back. I'm still going back and fix it. So just like we find out Hamashiach Yahushai wasn't a white man, just like we find out Dr. King wasn't a person that was against our nationality, but he was actually a man who found out he was an Israelite in the last days. He traveled to Jerusalem. All right, Dr. King had a relationship. Okay, he had a relationship with the Yasha'alim in Jerusalem. Okay, so Dr. Martin Luther King, man, and Michael King, we're going to see more on him. His exposing the lies of the white man without being shot in his head right here while he was giving a speech had to be so tactical, had to be so strategic. This is where we're going to stop at right here. This is where we're going to start at. All right. If everybody see the title, it says, "My dream has turned into a nightmare." And yes, it has. I had a dream. And I myself believe that dream would come to a way. And it looks like Yahweh will always have the last say. So we know that. All right. So we want to look at a few things. Okay. I gotta segue this, but I'm kind of in a place to where I have so many thoughts that I want to share that some stuff is just not gonna segue. So I'm just gonna throw it in. All right. So I'm gonna go to this video real quick, and this video is just a really cool video. All right, and we're gonna look at Sakarii, ancient Jewish or Israelite terrorists. I'm gonna play this video real quick, and I hope they don't kick it off nothing, but we're gonna see a few things. The reason why I did this is because a few reasons. If somebody wants to know or asks me, I'll show you. I'll tell you later. All right, so As y'all see, I got my Sakari Eye banner up, boy. Sakari on mine, boy. Sakari on mine, homie. All Sakari shirts, 50% off. All Sakari shirts, 50% off. All right. Hey, the brother said, no such thing as a swarthy red-skinned Duke. I agree. All right. I want to go to this. Let's go back to this real quick. This was something I spoke to my friend and my brother. Even if we don't talk, I'm gonna call the brother my friend, you know, not his enemy. Gorilla Hebrew about the name Sakari and a few other members about Sakari, about the name, and people do not know. But once you know something, you're accountable for it. Now, this is just information.
Sakari, Jewish assassins.
All right, so there should be Israelite assassins. Okay, so Edomites, Jewish, you know, the Amalekites with the black hats, the black shoes, black shirts, black pants, black curls, trying to look like us. Judas black into the ground, trying to look like us. The gates thereof languish. All right, we know it's talking about our city gates, but it's also, you know, synonymous for our people. So definitely not them going through being assassinated in the nannies.
The Sakari were a group of Jewish assassins who strongly opposed the Roman occupation of Judea.
So what you'll see is you see this one person right here arguing with another Israelite, and it's really cool how they did this, because you see kind of darkish, lightish, brownish, and then you got just the white. And see, you can see that also. You can tell the Romans, they had these golden ivy around their head. Something else, we carried ivy on our head, and having to be in the feast of Bacchus, they made us take on Roman customs. Okay, so as you see the brother going through the crowd, he arguing with everybody, debate words. The man in the debatey worlds, right? But it's not just about the debate world. It was about causing sedition. The name Sakari was never a good name. It was never a good name to call yourself. It literally means assassin. The name Sakari means backstabber. And it wasn't about we're going into the, yes, I said it, backstabber. I said it. Yes. So it was never about just going to Rome and defeating Rome. It was murdering Israelites too. It was about murdering anybody that wasn't down with my elder. So it's not good to call yourself a backstabber. That's all I'm going to say. But we're going to segue this back to what we were saying. I just wanted to show this because I have my Sakari badge up today.
Jerusalem in 70 AD. The Sakari, looking to expel the Romans and Roman sympathizers, would pull out.
All right. Looking to expel the Roman and Roman sympathizers. So this not only means they was murdering other Roman citizens, all right, sneakily. Now, what's the problem with sneakily murdering Roman citizens? The problem is that we're not allowed to lie in wait to shed innocent blood. It don't matter if you thought the person was wrong, or it don't matter if you was right. The Most High told us don't do that. Let me prove it to you. Hold on, let's get this real quick. Let me get this. We're gonna go to a fun book. It's called Proverbs. Proverbs is beastie. Proverbs chapter 1, KJV, Blue Letter Bible. All right, come over here with me. I pray everybody can see this. Now, I don't want, you can take any part of this video you want, you use anything. Listen, I love speaking, I love dropping jewels. That's what the elders and the Shatarium officers, Mashar Yashala, all the communities, we're supposed to come together. Salute to my brother Shabar. My brother Shabar is going in right now. All right. Y'all know Shabar on Facebook, social media, get with him. This Proverbs chapter 1, verse 10. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. If they say, come with us, let us lie in wait for blood. Let us lurk privately for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. Once I read this verse, my kicking door days was over. Yes, I'm tall, so I can get up through a balcony. I'm tall, and I have agility. I can step over here, kick off, jump up, put my foot right here, use my eyes, look up. I can see what I'm grabbing on and be ready to hold what I'm grabbing with a firm grip and be ready to not fall and climb up a balcony. The scripture says that we're going to go into the windows of our enemies in that day. I speak it as a man. The scripture says we're going to climb in the windows of our enemies and spoil them. Boy, we've been doing this. But once I seen this verse, I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Yes, it's not lawful for Israelites to gang together and to hit licks and to secretly rob, nor to secretly shed blood. Me and my peers one time, quick story, Kansas City. We didn't have no knife. We didn't have no guns. I was about to say toddlers, not toddlers. Preteens with screwdrivers, just walking up to people, putting it in their back. But guess what? I had to pay for that. Not at that time. I had to pay for it later in life. And then once I read in the scriptures, like, oh, I was doing wrong. I knew I was doing wrong. It was scary. It was exciting. It was wrong. Then it became a nature that I knew was wrong. It was like I broke a mold. I was able to do things other people weren't doing. And I was more dangerous because I was. It's terrible. You don't ever want to be there. And I don't want my sons to experience that. And I don't want them to have to suffer the consequences. But I also don't want you to suffer the consequences. And I want you to teach your children this right now. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 10. My son, right up here, my son, Banya, my son, if sinners entice thee, if some of your friends come to you like, yo, let's go over there, let's go do this. The Most High said, consent thou not. This is still going into Sakari. If they say, come with us, let us lie in wait for blood. Let us lurk privily for innocent blood without cause. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave and whole as those that go down into the pit. Man, we're going to go take everything. That's exactly what these songs say. Man, I got a glicky on my blizzy. I had a licky on your jelly. That's exactly what all these songs say, man. There's no difference. If I call myself a murderer, that's my name. Murderer Yasharallah. My name is Hitlick Yasharallah. What do they say? They say, we shall find all kind of precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoils. The Most High says, they still say, cast in thy lot amongst us. Let us have one purse. It usually don't end up like that. Everybody don't come out on top. You might get a t-shirt. You might get a Hellcat. Who knows? Everybody don't come out on top. Okay. The Most High says, consent thou not. It's very important to know the history. I like names. I love names. So when Sister Dabi, when she showed me, oh, you changing that, what's your name meaning? Names are important. Names are very important. For those of you who don't know, yes, I speak about all kinds of stuff. Speak about myself too. I want to look at this real quick because you may not know. You might have thought Sakariai was the coolest name in the world. No, it means you're literally a sneaky, small knife carrying, small knife. You're a small dagger carrying. You're a small dagger carrying backstabber. Now, I don't got no problem with nobody in Sakariai. I don't have nobody. Nobody. I had a conversation with Deacon a couple times. You know, we were supposed to do a debate, you know, on the subject. You know, me, him, Maharika, Jeremiah, please say the Yah. You know, he threw a couple cheap shots and ran up the street. You know, he threw down a ninja smoke bomb and blocked me, Maharika, Jeremiah. But I'm just talking about that, but I don't care about it. You know, I'm just talking about it, but I'm just saying it. I don't have no problem with nobody. And this is the reality of it. We have to be careful with what we call ourselves. And it shames me that this wasn't taught. It wasn't spoken. When you go to Flavius Josephus and he talk about the Sakariai, Negroes was the worst. You got to be very careful what you call yourselves. All right. I'm going to put that right there. I'm going to lay this here. I'm going to end this. It's a really cool video. It's short. It's only 2 minutes and 18 seconds. So you can find the Sakariai in all different type of historical documents. All right. Here's the Zion. All right. This is where the name actually comes from, Sakari. All right. All right. So you can find the name, and they were called bandits. They were called robbers. They were called, you know, unscrupulous. They was called all kind of things. And yes, Flavius Josephus, the elder, he was a part of the Sakariai. And And then he was like, nah. He's like, nah, I'm gonna do the will of Yahweh. All right. So it's a all right. Now I'm not against going at ours, against our enemies. I'm not against going against our enemies. Right. Most I says vengeance is his. If you go by a name, I want to encourage you, if you can, go by a name that's going to carry you well. Go by a sham, go by a title that's going to carry you well. All right. Not just carry you well, but it's also going to be a name that's going to be helpful and prophetic. Okay. Try that. All right. So I think that that's fun and interesting. There's so much. Once I started reading, I was like, wait a minute. Nah. Maybe some other time, but nah, not right now. So as you look into names, titles, all this other stuff, Shalom Akwav Dabi, salute to you for your growth and all the Yashalim. We find out things that we thought were true are not true. Some of these stuff are just blatant lies. And that's how it was with Dr. King. I found out Dr. Michael King, had a life that we seen some parts of, but the parts that he gave for us, man, we still don't know. And it's still coming out how great of a man he was, even with his issues. All right. Scripture says the righteous man falls 7 times, but what? But does get back up. All right. So I want to play this report real quick. This is about 2 minutes and 37 seconds. We're going to look at this real quick. Anderson Cooper. I'm going to skip a little bit because I'm really, so let's skip to about right here, about 8. Let's see what he got.
Dr. Martin Luther King, the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., reflects then Director J. Edgar Hoover's deep suspicion and obsession with Dr. King, which was certainly no secret at the time. And it speaks to just how.
In case y'all didn't know, the president hated this man. Wait, let me rephrase. I shouldn't say hate. Let me rephrase this statement. Was obsessed with this man.
How far he and the FBI went to try and discredit Dr. King. The dossier.
Would you say hate or was obsessed? When you got the president, this man was on the hit list. This man, like King David, was on David at the time was on King Saul's hit list. That says a lot.
A released today contains items that are both, and I say explosive, but they are unsubstantiated. CNN's Gary Tuckman joins us now with more. So what are you learning? What's in this stuff?
Well, Anderson, among the more than 600 documents released late today by the National Archives is this one, a never-before-seen file titled Martin Luther King Jr., A Current Analysis. It's dated March 12, 1968, and includes a number of explosive allegations about the civil rights leader who was assassinated 23 days after this report was first compiled. Among the claims detailed, Martin Luther King Jr. was involved in extramarital affairs and others.
Hey, let's stop right here. That is a 304 move. I'm going to spell out 304. That's a 304 move for these sucker simps to come on here and be like, hey, he had extramarital affairs. This man was poly. All right. You heathens murdered him. Shot. After he was brought to the hospital, then tortured him until death. I want everybody to go back and look at the reports on Dr. King and his death. Look at the new reports that's been brought out as far as the nurses that were there, that were witnesses, that was like he was not dead when he came in. They beat him. They spit on him. They choked him. They desecrated his body. Listen, to use the tactic of slander, and man, I'm telling y'all, once I started going through it, it's like, oh man, this is crazy. I surely am no Dr. King. I surely am no Joseph. I surely am no, man, none of us have went through what these elders went through. I think that's such a sucker move to be like, he had extramarital, blah, blah, blah. His rib, Coretta Scott King was his Ra'ash, his first, his head. And if that man had more than one wife or had a concubine, what does that have to do with the price of China? Stop being a penis police. What's wrong with these suckers?
Sexual activities that, if true and revealed publicly, would have been devastating to Dr. King and his movement.
Absolutely not. The first thing is the slander. Now let's get this real quick. I'm eating a lemon, forgive me, so I'm making funny faces while I'm eating and talking. Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, chapter 26, KJV. All right. Ecclesiasticus chapter 1. I pray everybody can see this. All right. It says, yeah, we're on stream. All right. So, blessed is the man that hath a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be doubled. His rib, Coretta Scott King, has the most blessed memorial, her blessed memory. There's no videos and audios and edits of Coretta Scott King. You wicked ass nigga, you ain't. I'm gonna go get a better job and leave you. None of that. Coretta Scott King was down for the movement, for the nation, for her husband, for her God. So these heathens and they slander still can't touch the virtue of his wife. Her actions. That man could have had, King Solomon had what? 800 wives and 300 concubines? We come from a poly nation. Be fruitful and multiply, all of that stuff, all of that good stuff. I tell my ribs all the time, wives don't trip off of concubines. Queens don't trip off of concubines. Go look at them old movie, Game of Thrones and all that stuff. Queens don't trip off of concubines. They might have a concubine beat, like Sarah. Sarah used to beat for those of you who don't know, Sarah used to beat the brakes off of Hagar. Sarah used to beat the dog smoke out of Hagar, not Abraham. Abraham didn't beat her. Abraham was like, that's your woman. Do what you want to with her. Y'all better go back and read your Bible. It was the virtue of the mother. It was the virtue of Coretta Scott King. The only woman king I know, Coretta. Ain't no woman, the woman king. The only woman king I know, Coretta. The virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband. He shall fulfill the days of his life in peace. A good wife is a good portion, which shall be given to them that fear Yahweh. So he was doing something right. Look at this. Whether a man be rich or poor. You put this up. Let me copy this for y'all. Because it ain't about wealth. It ain't about wealth. And shame on you who all try to use monetary gain as a form of spiritual or life status. It just shows so much carnality, man. Whether a man be rich or I am poor. I am so poor. I am so poor. Whether a man be rich or poor, if he have a good heart towards Yahweh, he shall at all times rejoice with a cheerful countenance. Let me get this to y'all. Especially for you Akwatian, for you sisters who have to correct and cut other sisters. Especially for you brothers that have to cut and correct other brothers and help them to see. This man said, Hebrew simp walkers. That is funny. That man said Hebrew simp walkers. That is hilarious. I love that. That is hilarious. So it said, I've been to his hotel room that it happened at. Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful. Yeah, man. I know that has to be a very emotionally overwhelming experience too. Ecclesiastes chapter 26, verse 4, whether a man be rich or poor, if he have a good heart towards Yahweh, he shall at all times rejoice with a cheerful countenance. Right? Let's go back to this. Now let's look at this. But the grief of heart is sorrow is the grief, but a grief of heart and sorrow is a woman that is jealous over another woman. We didn't see Coretta Scott King coming out banging and oh, do the he was sleeping with the Baba Bijabi, and he was and not he was Nope. That woman rode out in her glory. She's riding in her glory, her beautiful reputation. And sometimes that comes just from being quiet, you know, and that's hard for men to understand sometimes because we about that action. Men want to see action. All right. But salute to all you daughters, all right, who operate in this capacity. It's absolutely wonderful to give reverence, to give respect, and to give praise to not only Dr. King, but also his wife's, his ribs legacy. Now let's see how much slander in his big face heathen Caesar Borgia looking. Let's see how much slander in 1 minute and 23 seconds can he put on our elder.
It would have been devastating to Dr. King and his movement. In addition, there are pages and pages detailing Martin Luther King and his organization, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, with alleged ties to known communists, and finally details about supposed financial improprieties by Dr. King and the SCLC. Now,
okay, that's all you got? That's it? You a hater for show, heathen. These heathens is haters for show. So, CIA, do a file on Dr. King to try to slander the elder. Not only slander the elder, slander the movement. He was having sex with women. He had himboquisha. Dr. King had a favorite woman that would come and take care of his whatever clothes whenever he was out and Coretta was at home. Let me tell y'all something. The Apostle Paul did not let his wife come on ministries with him. The Apostle Paul kept his family safe. There were many apostles who had wives. The apostles weren't all men without families. And sometimes you don't take your family to war. Sometimes you got to spray away the haters too. You got to spray back the haters. And all praise to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Our elder did his thing, man. He did his thing. I want to look at this real quick. Let's get back to this because the deception is real, but also the truth is real. The truth is greater than this deception. All right, the truth is much greater than the deception. All right, so let's get back to this real quick. This is not going to be a very long video today. All right, we're just going to look at a few things. I am going to actually, hey, shalom, shalom. Bill Clinton is black because, all right, hold on, let me check you out real quick. All right, we're going to do a different screen share for a second. I'm going to pull that up. Brother said, yes, they say Bill Clinton is black because he cheated. Boy, wasn't that, wasn't that terrible? Wasn't that terrible? Martha Stewart robbed people for millions and get a couple of months of home arrest, cooking brownies and smoking weed with Snoop Dogg. But if you cash a check, you finished. Our president of America is a felon. But I wonder, are they still going to ask on the job applications, have you ever been convicted of a felony? I wonder if they're going to ask that now. Absolutely. Just like the president. And I want this job, just like the president. It makes no sense. Whose oppressors slay them and pity them not, hold themselves not guilty. That's an excellent one, brother. I like that too, man. Hebrew Simp Walker. Well, that's a good one. Hebrew Simp Walker. All right, let's get to this real quick. Let's show some love to the Zaquan real quick. And this video is very short. It's about 4 minutes. We'll let the elder speak as he's spoken so beautifully so many times before. All right. And I hope YouTube doesn't clip this for educational purposes only. All right. I want you all to listen close to how his speech changes. If you've never heard it, I want you to listen to how his speech changes. Let's go.
I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Now, before we even go to this next part, we know that what he was saying was good, but that is not what Yahweh's dream was. The Most High told us to separate from the nations. He didn't tell us to gather with the nations. Yashar Allah got in trouble because we gathered with them. We were sold into captivity because we amalgamated, took on their ways. And it's not just that we married their daughters, we married their wives. It's not just that, but it's that we started worshiping their gods. That's what it was. We offended the Most High. We started worshiping their gods. So what Dr. King's speech was, I have a dream. It was very powerful. It brought a lot of people together, but it is not what the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob commanded the children of Israel to do. It is the exact total opposite. It is the exact total opposite. Let's go over here real quick and get a scripture. Deuteronomy chapter 7, KJV, Blue Letter Bible. Deuteronomy chapter 7, KJV. I'm going to start at verse 1, and I'm going to read down, and it reads, when Yahweh the Elohim shall bring thee into the land, whether thou goest to possess it, and have cast out many nations before thee, the what? The Hittites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites. Now, if anybody that's watching this now or later needs help with this, this is easy. This isn't hard. Copy. Now, in my Bible, just like in your Bible, Genesis chapter 10, KJV. Oh, I should have said BLB. My bad. In my Bible, just like in your Bible, there's what's called a table of nations. The table of nations is also called the descendants of Noah. And it starts off very easily. It says, now these are the generations of the son of Noah, Sham, Ham, Yafat, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born when after the flood. This is the time frame when the Most High gave us permission to eat flesh. This is when he gave us permission to eat meat. Before then, we were 1,200% vegans, vegetarians. We wasn't eating nothing. We wasn't eating no flesh. But after the flood, the Most High gave us permission. So as you see in your Bible and on my screen, there's a symbol right here that's called the pilcrow. The pilcrow means the subject is about to change. Every time you get to the pilcrow, the subject is about to change. So you have 2, 3, 4, 5. And then when you get down to verse 6, here's a pilcrow. That means the subject's about to change. How do we know? It says, and the sons of Ham. Okay. So let's go 6, 7, 8. The pilcrow changes. Pilcrow. It's called a pilcrow, a blind P, or a side or backwards P. Pilcrow, blind P, backwards P. These are all indications of topographical punctuations to show you that your context is changing. Right? So we see Cush. All right. Now here's where it gets really good at. It's all good. All this is good. Cush, go down to 13. Here's another pilcrow. Mizraim, 15. Here's another pilcrow. 21. Here's another pilcrow. All right. Now, so from 21 on down, we see unto Shem also. So since we know Noah only had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Shem, Ham. Don't listen to that Bantu boo-boo doctrine that says Noah had 2 sons, 1 son, or the other sons was made in Hollywood. That Bantu doctrine is super stupid. When we go to Genesis chapter 1, the way it's broken up is it shows you the sons of Noah. And within the names of the sons of Noah, you can find who Yahweh said don't marry. I know that might mess some of us up because I'm like, we ain't supposed to marry none of them. Yes, we are. We are supposed to consummate with some of them, not all of them. But it's not about consummation. It's not about marriage. It's about showing you who in Genesis chapter 10 is talking about in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7. So in Deuteronomy chapter 7, it says what? The Hittites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites. Right? Everybody see that? Really easy. Come back to Genesis chapter 10. We're going to start at the sons of Ham. Right? The sons of Ham. All right. These are the sons of Ham. We see what? Mizraim, Phut, Canaan, Cush, Sheba, Havilah, Shabbatha, Ramah, Sabcha, excuse me, Ramah, Sheba, Dedan, Nimrod. Let's keep going. Nimrod was a mighty hunter. All right. Berech, Akkad, Kalna, in the land of Shinar. We have what? Ashar that built Nineveh. So you know that the story of Jonah and Nineveh came from who? It's the people of the Canaanites, the Hamites. But guess what, everybody? The people of Nineveh actually did it better than the Israelites did. The people of Nineveh actually repented and fasted, made even their children, their animals fast, right? So what are you Israelites going to do that? All right, nobody cares about the cries in the street. Israelite women, my baby hungry. Shut up. It's you. You want to pacify your baby. Your baby wants to praise Yahweh. All right. We have Nineveh in the city of the Ba'ath. We have Kala. All right, and resin between Nineveh and Kala. These are the same great cities. So that shows you the different city, the landmass. We have Mizrum. We have Ludum, Amnim, Lahabim. We have Nafutim, we have Partishim, we have Palashim, who came the Philistine, which are the Philistine. We have Kaftorium, we have Canaan, we have Sidon, the firstborn of Heth, Jebus, which is the Jebusite. We have the Amorite, the Girgashite, the Hivite, the Archite, the Sinite, the Arvadite. We have the Zemarite, and yes, I'm going to read all these because I'm not lazy. I want you to hear these. The Hamathites, and afterwards were the families of the Canaanites spread abroad. So we see that the Canaanites, the people of Nineveh, Babylon, the people of Deuteronomy chapter 7, all come from where? Come from the sons of Ham, but we're not done. Genesis chapter 10, verse 19. And the borders of the Canaanites were from Sidon, from who came with Gerar and Gaza. As thou goest to Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, even unto Lasha. I'm really reading. The pronunciation is so Hebrew for me. These are the sons of Ham after their families, after their tongues, in their countries, in their nations. This is easy. So when you go to Genesis chapter 10, you read the sons of Ham, these same names, Hittites, Girgashites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites. It shows us exactly who Yahweh was talking about. It shows us exactly who Yahweh was talking about. But let's get to the major point of this right here. So the major point is the Most High says, verse 2, and when Yahweh thy God, Yahweh thy Elohim shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and what? Utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them, neither shalt thou make marriages with who? With them. See that? Thy daughters thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughters shalt thou take unto thy son. So there are certain nations that Yahweh said absolutely not. But then there's certain nations that the Most High gave us a leave to, especially, if he didn't say kill them. All right. So Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 4, for they will turn away thy son from following me. That's the point. Don't just marry them because they're icky. They will turn away your sons from following me, that they may what? Serve other gods. So will the anger of Yahweh be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. All right. So I got to read this. This is one of my favorite parts. But thus shalt thou deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars and break down their images and cut down their groves cut down their groves and burn their graven images with fire. This is what the Most High commanded the Yeladim of Yasha'alim to do. So when we look at the segue back to where we're going, when we look at the cultures and the nation that the Most High told us to not have, whether they be wives or concubines, it's a very easy breakdown. The Most High said that the Amorites, I think he said they shall never enter into the congregation of Yahweh. I think he said the Edomites can enter into I think it had to be the seventh congregation, something like that. But let's get back to this. Let's see what these haters is trying to spew on the elder. All right, this is Dr. King. That's slander. That the whole objective is straight slander. The whole objective is to find something on straight slander. You know how terrible that is? You know how terrible that is, man? Your whole job is to be a daggone hater. That's terrible. So the whole agenda for President Hoover and his committee was to try to find dirt. Find whatever you can on this man. Let's read this real quick. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 26, verse 5, and it reads, there be three things that my heart, what? There be three things that my heart feareth, and for the fourth, I was sore afraid. Look at this. The slander of a city. That's one of the first things, being lied on. Being lied on. Maybe it's not all a lie, but that ain't none of your business. So what? When I travel down to Memphis, Tennessee, I have a concubine or a handmaiden, or I have a daughter, or I have a son that's down there, and I have a sister that ministers to me specifically only. So what? Because somebody found out they can now officially say Dr. King. The slander of a city is one of the scariest things, because you got everybody coming against you. And the Most High said, thou shalt not stand against the blood of thy neighbor. Then you have people that's been on your side the whole time, but they just stand there and watch. They don't say nothing. They just stand there and watch. Just like Hamashiach. When Hamashiach was crucified, there was some that was weeping, but they watched. They didn't say anything. What could they say? The gathering together of an unruly multitude. Don't that sound like the white man and the CIA? The gathering together of an unruly multitude. Look at this. And a false accusation. All these are worse than death. And Dr. King was still living through this while his oppressors, the same shepherds, because remember, Dr. King worked for the CIA. And this is exactly what the scriptures say. The scripture says their shepherds, their shepherds, wait, the scripture says their shepherds pity them not. How? How? How, Sway? For those of you who don't know, yes, Dr. King did work with the CIA. He did work with the government. He did work with them. And the same agenda that they wanted to have done, he's like, look, I'm working for my people. I'm working for my God. Now, I was wrong, because back in the day, I was like, oh, Dr. King was a coon. I called him a coon, son. Wicked little me called Dr. King. I called him a sellout. I called him a coon. I said he was doing this, he was doing that. And then as I started to learn more, I started looking, man, I gotta go back and apologize and fix this, man. These heathens, these Gentiles, just like Hamashiach, just like King David. And that's why I started with King David. That's why I started with King David, King James, forgive me, King James. So we started with King James here, showing that he was slandered. Hamashiach was slandered. After King James' death, he was slandered. He had liars and backstabbers even back then. So the point of saying such is to say, when we look at this, the slander of a city, we got to keep this in mind, man. This is Zaquan, these elders, they went through stuff that we never went through. All right. So we see the same people he worked with, worked for, applied very hard to find anything on him. And then when they did, murder him. That is ridiculous. We have no way of corroborating these allegations. Let me go back to this. Let me play it so y'all can hear it in its full glory. My bad. I had to pause that for a second. Can you imagine that? Can y'all imagine that? We just want to peacefully walk. And see, this even goes even more so into the scriptures. Just this visual right here goes even more so into the scriptures, man. There's so many videos, man, that actually shows the Gentiles doing exactly what the Bible said they would do. Exactly. There's videos and there's scriptures. You can't make this stuff up. Deuteronomy chapter 2, verse 29. Numbers chapter 20. Thus Edom refused. Thus Edom refused to allow Israel to pass through his territory. Man, we can't forget. I mean, I'm reminding myself right now, but I want to encourage y'all too, man. Don't forget. This same nation has been doing the same thing from way back and the way back. It has no mention of slowing down. We in the time of Jacob's trouble right now. KK Kennedy slept with Marilyn Monroe and murdered another concubine. No one cared. No one cared. But then when it comes to Dr. King, now what? The man had a concubine? That's the best you got? Look at this image right here. That's good, man. I'm glad you brought that out, man. Let me scroll up for a second, man. I want to check this brother's comment. The brother said a few things, man. The brother said, felons can not vote, own a gun, yet a felon have and shoot nukes and tanks. Okay. This Negro is a felon. And they give him the red button and tank button. Yeah, that's a good one, King. Yeah, you be dropping hot ones, man. My brother said Kennedy slept with Marilyn Monroe and murdered another concubine. No one cared. Thus, Edom refused to allow Israel to pass through his territory.
Kennedy or his assassination. The only clue we have.
Can you imagine being these elders, these brothers walking peacefully, and you know that these heathens on this other hand, they have no good intention. These heathens have no good. They stand there with sticks, bats, guns. Look at them. Look, they itchy. They itchy. And they don't got nothing in their hands. Just the love of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man. Can y'all imagine that, man? I've been in a couple gang fights before, but you know, it was different than that. This is different. Let's see.
Only clue we have in this file marked secret is it's also stamped reviewed by the FBI JFK Task Force and dated May 8th, 1994, meaning it was reviewed by the Archives JFK Task Force 23 years ago, but kept secret until today.
There are still thousands of JFK assassination documents that.
All right. Thank you, Hedon. Thank you, Hedon, so much. So it blows my mind, it boggles my mind, man. This is Zaquan. He's been gone all this time. The truth of his ministry is starting to come out more. Years ago, I came across this video and, you know, I started to slowly speak on it, you know what I'm saying? So I don't really have too much to say. I want to let this video play for itself. All right, call me on Charlotte.
I must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare. Now, I'm not one to lose hope. I keep on hoping. I still have faith in the future. But I've had to analyze many things over the last few years, and I would say over the last few months. I've gone through a lot of soul-searching and agonizing moments. And I've come to see that we have many more difficult days ahead, and some of the old optimism was a little superficial, and now it must be tempered with a solid.
Now, let me stop right there. I praise the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man. And it's so hurtful. This is where I also feel I'm coming through or coming to. That man says some of the old optimism. Listen to this, man. I'm going to rephrase. I'm going to say it in my words.
Was a little superficial, and we have many more difficult days ahead, and some of the old optimism was a little superficial, and now it must be tempered with a solid realism. And I think that
he doesn't pause when I'm sorry. I'm trying to find a good pause, but apparently Dr. King's one of the people who just gives run-on sentences. No offense. But the statement right here, you know, some of that old optimism was superficial, and now it has to be tempered with reality. That's a cold statement. That what I believed would be like this, it was superficial for me to think like that, for a thing like that. That's not the reality. Now that same passion, it has to be tempered with reality. I feel that on so many points in my life. I just came to the realization that I am delusional because I believe so hard and so strong in something that other people talk about that I'm on a different crazy sphere than other Israelites. I'm on a different crazy sphere than those who believe in marriage, because I believe in marriage till death, and then after death, me and you celebrate and go to Christ together. I believe so radically that it hurts to know that our initial thoughts may have been childish, but now they have to be tempered with reality. And that includes our relationships and how we view and operate in this world. So Dr. King dropping his jewel, you know, and his was on speaking like, listen, we can't, you know, and it hurts. He reminds me of my Banyam. You know, my sons all have good children. In my opinion, I have good sons. And my Banyam, my sons have always and just wanted to be friendly, nice, you know, play, all that other good stuff. But as this life continues to move and propels us forward, we find out that this world and this life isn't nice. So we have to go from being one way to another, man. And it really does hurt to see the change that the doctor had to go through, because we all have to go through it, right? Let's go back to this. But here go another key point. Anything that's not growing, not changing is dead.
It's such an agonizing moment. And I've come to see that we have many more difficult days ahead. And some of the old optimism was a little superficial, and now it must be tempered with a solid realism. And I think the realistic fact is that we still have a long, long way to go, and that we are involved in a war on Asian soil, which, if not checked and stopped, can poison the very soul of our nation.
He's talking about the Vietnam War, for those who don't know. All right. And look at the passion in his eyes. That's when you look at somebody right in their face and be like, I know you know what I'm saying.
I'm not going to say that all of our problems will be solved if the war in Vietnam is ended, but I do say that the war makes it infinitely more difficult to deal with these problems. When a nation becomes obsessed with the guns of war, it loses its social perspective, and programs of social uplift suffer. This is just a fact of history, so that we do face many more difficulties as a result of the war. It's much more difficult to really arouse a conscience during a time of war. There is something about a war like this that makes people insensitive. It dulls the conscience. It strengthens the forces of reaction, and it brings into being bitterness and hatred and violence. I think the biggest problem now is that we got our gains over the last 12 years at bargain rate, so to speak. It didn't cost the nation anything. In fact, it helped the economic side of the nation to integrate lunch counters and public accommodations. It didn't cost the nation anything to get the right to vote established. And now we are confronting issues that cannot be solved without costing the nation billions of dollars. Now, I think this is where we're getting our greatest resistance. They may put it on many other things, but we can't get rid of slums and poverty without it costing the nation something. I feel that nonviolence is really the only way that we can follow, because violence is just so self-defeating. A riot ends up creating many more problems for the Negro community than it solves. You can, through violence, burn down a building, but you can't establish justice. You can.
Now, let me say this. I do believe that rioting is something that the Most High had us to do. So as we go through the scriptures, and I don't want to take anything away from Doctor's message, okay? So please let me be very clear on this. I don't want to take anything away from Doctor's message. The reality is that the children of Israel, we tear it up. We tear it up. And everybody knows that. The children of Israel will tear your stuff up if you mess with our sister Dinah. Take it back to the scriptures. I wholeheartedly agree that Dr. King is a minister. He was a minister. He is a minister, and we should go with a lot of his messages. Some of his messages were for his time frame and for those who were at, at that dispensation, that time giving of grace and peace. And we're still in that time of giving of grace and peace. But for right then, it wasn't a Judah rouse up time frame. It wasn't that time for the prophecy. So I don't want, and I was so wrong in this, and I want to apologize. I have to apologize, and I can't apologize. I can't apologize enough. That when I was speaking, I was saying, Dr. King, he this, he that, because I didn't know the original lies that I was taught about the children of Israel, Dr. King, his mission, his ministry, his speech. The original lies that I was taught threw me off so bad that they had me, you know, it was zeal. It was other people's zeal. All right. It wasn't all mine. Some of it was, you know, I was on fire for my Zaquanium, but I didn't study enough to be able to be like, oh, okay, now I see the big picture. And I still don't see the big picture. But I will say this. When I was a child, I think as a child, I spoke as a child. When I became a man, I put away childish things. Okay. That's a reality. Okay. So we have to put away childish things, even if our teachings are our elders' teaching, if they are inaccurate. Okay. So the point of saying such is to get back to the speech. Yashar Allah, all throughout our history, we tore it up. If you mess with our nation, we tearing it up. We tearing up your stuff. We tearing up your stuff. What you mean riding in my community, my neighborhood? If it's mine, then why they won't give me a loaf of bread when I need it? If it's mine, I'm 50 cents short on getting a loaf of bread, and it's right before the Shabbat, and I've been shopping with this East Indian Elamites for years, and now you're gonna be like, oh, come on, I'll kiss the Shabbat if it's mine. But when one of y'all heathens murder one of our people and keep on murdering our people and keep on, and we get fed up enough, we tearing up y'all stuff. That ain't ours. We ain't looting our houses. We tearing up y'all stuff. And it's gonna stay like that. Because when Christ come back, he tearing up y'all stuff too. He tearing up California right now. The scripture says the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous. Now, I will speak on this. There was some young baby brews. All right. There was some young baby brews. And the reason why Dr. King is giving this speech is because there was some young Israelites who rioted. All right. Let me pull this up. All right. So there was a riot before Dr. King was assassinated. Okay. All right. Now, not what happened afterwards. Okay. We're not talking about, you know, Dr. King's assassination and the Watts riots. We're not talking about that. Okay. We're talking about there was a riot that happened. It was supposed to be a peaceful protest that Dr. King, right, and that his committee planned out. But some of them little young ruffian lion cubs down in Memphis, down in the South, they start flashing out. They start doing what the Memphis women and what some of them juking Memphis brothers be doing. Ain't nothing wrong with juking. I love juke. I think juking is hella cool. I wish I could juke. Boy, I be looking crazy trying to juke. I be here getting it, kicking over the coffee table, tripping over my dog. I be doing all kinds. My footwork is ugly. It's ridiculous. But to me, I be getting it. Y'all don't see me, but I be getting it. I be here dancing all by myself. But those brothers that's in Memphis, those little young lion cubs, they kicked off a fight that Dr. King said, no, nobody, we're not, nobody. Everybody, hands down. Before he even got started. So in this speech, what he's actually doing is he's rebuking the young baby brews in Memphis. He's rebuking the young baby brews around the world, all of us. And he's saying, hold up, y'all. All right. It's not riot. But the riot already happened. So now he's trying to do damage control. All right. Hold on. Let's see.
Murder a murderer, but you can't murder through violence. You can murder a hater, but you can't murder hate. And what we are trying to get rid of is hate and injustice and all of these other things that continue the long night of man's inhumanity to man.
I'm gonna take this step. I'm gonna take this back because if you know the scriptures, you will hear people be like, you never see Dr. King carry a Bible. Never. I mean, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I don't know. I seen pictures of him, you know, all kind of stuff. But it don't mean that when he wasn't speaking that the word wouldn't come out of his mouth. Let me see this.
You can't murder through violence. You can murder a hate, can through violence burn down a building, but you can't establish justice. You can murder a murderer, but you can't murder through violence.
See, y'all see that? I want y'all to see the twitch in his eye. Look at his left eye. This is the look that you have when Yahweh is downloading you with scriptures, freestyling on the spot. All right. Forget this Duke. Forget this long-faced, big-head Duke. All right.
You can, through violence, burn down a building, but you can't establish justice. You can murder a murderer, but you can't murder.
Did y'all see it? Did y'all see that twinge in his eye? See, what he said was, you can murder a murderer. Hold on, let's get back to this.
And it solves. You can, through violence, burn down a building, but you can't establish justice. You can murder a murderer, but you can't murder through violence.
So we can't murder the spirit of murder through violence, but we can kill a murderer. That's what he's saying. So he's saying there's certain things you can't get done through violence. Now, did he say that you can't? Listen, if somebody in our community is guilty of murder and or rape, because the crime of rape, and I want to say I'm so sorry to all of you Israelites. I've been molested myself as a child, you know, and this is something I'm starting to speak on more openly, because, you know, nobody ever asked me, but I guess, you know, it doesn't matter. But I do know women who have been violated and raped. That's something that can't be brought back at all, except for through Yahweh and the peace that he gives. All right, molestation, all those things, and that's a crime that's punishable by death to those who have violated you women and you men. All right, because men get violated too. All right, but the point of saying that is to say the perpetrators are counted as murderers according to the Torah, according to the Most High. So when Dr. King says you can murder a murderer, but you can't murder murder through violence, well, that's right, because the spirit of murder is going to be here. We can get that murderer out here that did it. We can get that rapist out here that did it. But the spirit of murder is always going to be here until Christ comes and gets that out of here.
Violence. You can murder a hater, but you can't murder hate. And
I love that. A hater. Look right at that man in his face. You a hater. A hater. If you want to know more about the spirit of hate or the spirit of being a hater, then please, I encourage everybody, get this right here. The Testament of Gad, sacred text. This testament, I'm going to copy this link and put it in your room. You're going to really, I put it in the room. You're going to really thoroughly enjoy this. And the reason being is because I'm not going to read it, even though I'm going to try to not read it. But this is so beautiful. Let's go to chapter 2. This is Gad that's speaking. He's speaking on Joseph, all right, and how he hated Joseph. This is how you can spot a hater, all right? These are all the things that haters do, and you can see their characteristic in their spirit. All right, and let's look at the specific one, verse 13. And through means, and through a man, and though a man become rich by evil means, even as Esau, see that? So even Gad cutting Esau, everybody he cutting his own uncle. And though a man become rich by evil means, as Esau, the brother of my father, be not jealous, but wait for Yahweh. Wait for the end, all right? Wait for the end of Yahweh, all right? So, and this is to all you brothers that's, out there. I understand bettering yourself, brother. I understand getting a better job, a better position, better contract out there in the world, Babylon, all of this stuff. But, the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous one. Also, what good is a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Okay. So while you're building yourself up, also make sure you build up your spirit, because if you put the spirit man to side, or put the spirit man to part, but you're operating in this world so you can get personal gain, then you're acting like an Edomite. All right, you're acting like Esau. So anyway, the point is saying such as say, if you want to learn more about a hater and the spirit of hatred and how a hater behaves, then please read the Testament of Gad. All right, Testament of Gad is absolutely phenomenal. And if it wasn't for taking a rabbit trail or something like that, I would really want to stick here. All right. But I'm pretty sure you all can see some of this on the screen. Okay. You should be able to see all of this on the screen. All right. So it's all the way down the hater, 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 the hater. How the hater behaves. How a spirit that the person has the spirit of hatred behaves. Okay. So when Dr. King is saying, look right at that man. You say you're a hater. Look, you're a hater.
Murder through violence. You can murder a hater, but you can't murder hate. And what we are trying to get rid of is hate and injustice and all of these other things that continue the long night of man's inhumanity to man.
When we allow freedom reign, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
All right, so I'm gonna pause that real quick. Well, that's the end of it. But
and help welcome.
I'm gonna stop that. That's the end of it. There's another video I want to watch. There's that part. I will never hear.
I have a dream.
I will never hear this speech. I will never hear this speech the same again. All right, because there will be a time. Let me look at. Let's go back to the end of the speech. All right, let's look at this from a scriptural, biblical perspective.
It rings from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city.
So there will be, first of all, Dr. King, which as you look at him, man, he's a handsome man. Man, that brother's handsome. Man, that brother OG Genesis, Loopy Lang look like Dr. King, man. Got them Korean slanty eyes, man, them Coco Sun eyes, man. All right, but there will be a time frame when his word will go out the four corners of the earth. There will be a time frame where gross darkness will cover the earth. There will be a time frame where the entire planet will face Yerushalayim, will face the east. And there will be a time frame where there will not be war. The Edomites, the Ishmaelites, every nation will beat their weapons into plowshares. And in that time, we are going to be free, man.
We will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles.
All right, so real quick, black men, white men, Jews and Gentiles. All right, so it's so beautiful now to be able to see this and hear this with Hebrew ears and Hebrew eyes, not with little black boys' eyes from the 60s, from the 70s, or from the 80s, 90s, whatever, but from Hebrew perspective, to see that what this man was saying was scripture. All right, because the world will live in shalom, the world will live in peace. All right, it will be all nations. It's going to be Yahweh. It's going to be Yahweh Shai. It's Yahweh She. It's going to be Yashar Allah, and it's going to be the Gentiles up under us. And if I find out I'm a Gentile, and hey, man, guess what, man? It just so happens that your father's father was, a Cambodian from, Jamaica. What? Man, I'm gonna be the best servant you Israelite Negroes ever seen. I'm gonna outserve you Israelites. I'm gonna praise the Most High harder than you Hebrews, because I personally believe in this truth. I believe in His way. I believe in His walk. All right. But if I find out, I'll be the greatest servant ever, man. And this is what we see, that during this time frame, the world will be in shalom, man.
Protestants and Catholics will be able to join hands.
There ain't gonna be no Protestant Catholics, though. I mean, as far as the denominations, we're gonna be under one denomination.
And singing the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty.
From this white man's tyranny, the Wadi Yahweh, you have finally saved us from the white man's captivity. We've been in captivity to every nationality on the planet. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with us. We've been in captivity and we waiting. And you got some brews that's all super bugged out. You got some brews that's super bugged out. They don't want to give no reference to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but what we're seeing over these city skies. What if these chariots, so-called drones, whatever, plasmoids, whatever you want to call them, chariots, no, they aliens. Guess what? Yahweh still made them. The white man is an alien. Stop playing. When the world will be again at shalom, at peace, under Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, there's going to be a government ruling, a government structure. There's going to be a government structure. And because of elders, because of men like this, very handsome, very comely men, wouldn't you just want to hug Dr. King, be like, yo, the water's upon? Walk up to him, be like, he's short in the mud. Dang, dog, I thought you was taller than that, yo. Hey, you shorter than the mud, man. He looked like one of the brothers, he real brick, like he real solid. Like you try to, like you hug him and it looks like his suit big, but it's actually like his suit's kind of small. And he's actually like a brick solid little dude like that. Like, yeah, play with me if you want, not two-piece, you little nigga.
I must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare. Now, I'm not one to lose hope. I keep on hoping. I still have faith in the future. But I've had to analyze many things over the last few years, and I would say over the last few months. I've gone through a lot of soul-searching and agonizing moments. And I've come to see that we have many more difficult days ahead, and some of the old optimism was a little superficial, and now it must be tempered with a solid realism. And I think the realistic fact is that we still have a long, long way to go.
That was so beautifully articulate the way he said that. And let me share this in the room with you all real quick. All right. Dr. King speaking on his house, this house being a burning house. What is the burning house? The burning house is Yahweh, the nation, excuse me, let me rephrase that, is the nation that Yahweh dropped us into. This is the burning house that we're into now. The burning house that we're into now is us being murdered every day in the streets, us being kidnapped every day. It ain't even about just last hired, first fired no more. I don't think the majority of us even care. We just, Yahweh provide for it. He gonna bring birds down and feed. I'm not wasting my time giving love and support to this Babylonian nation no more. This mug is falling. I'm wasting my time being a part of that. But I'll never waste my time being a part of this ministry. That doctor said, I'm not one who loses hope. I'm not one who loses hope. That's powerful. And I want to apologize again, man. For those of you who don't know, man, there's so many things that we just don't know. Dr. King went and lived in Jerusalem. Dr. King went and visited Jerusalem. He knows about Dimona. Dr. King knows about Dimona. Him and his rib, Coretta, God bless her spirit, man. They both stayed in Jerusalem. They even stayed at a YMCA. But check this out. Guess where they went to go and visit? They didn't do the Edomite heathen tour. They went to the same places that Ameria Hoshua, that free, give us free. Y'all know the brother Free. Y'all know the brother Johan, the brother B, brother Bryant. Y'all know of our family in Dimona, in Telerad. Dr. King went to Hebron, the same places that we read in the Bible. I would love to ask some of you women questions, but y'all act like I don't know what you're talking about, brother. Sister, I don't. Let me tell you, there's a location where the Hebrews lived, and this is where Dr. King went to go visit. He visited Samaria. Dr. King went to go visit Jericho. Y'all remember the city of Jericho, where Yahweh made the walls come crumbling down? He went to go visit all of the Yasha'alim locations. Hebron, Jericho, Jordan River, which all praise the Most High, blessed the Zaquanim. I had the blessing of being baptized in the Jordan River twice. And I love that. I had the blessing of being baptized in running water of Jordan River twice. These are the places that Dr. King went to go and visit. He visited Hebron. He visited Bethlehem. He visited Samaria. He visited Jericho. And he visited the Jordan River. But wait, last but not least at all, where else did Dr. King go and visit? Dr. King went and visited the Dead Sea. For those of you who don't know, what's so-called the Dead Sea is the same location of Sodom and Gomorrah. This picture right here is scary in the mug. It's funny, but it's scary, all right? And the reason being is because this is what Sodom looks like. This is what Gomorrah looks like. You see that heathen floating, all happy? She's floating because you can't drown there. You can't drown there because the sea level, the salt level content is so high because of all the sulfur. Y'all see all that? This is all sulfur. This up here, that's all burnt. This no grass grows here. Yes, me and my Akim brethren, we all drove all up and through here. You had the elders floating up through here. Negro had a skin disease, got in this water and got out. And before he left Jerusalem, his skin was healing. I seen it with my own eyes. He had blisters on his neck. Handsome dude. He couldn't do nothing about it. I don't know what the condition is called, but he had blisters all on the back of his neck. He went soaked in a salt sea. Same place where Dr. King went and visited. Now, forget all these little hotels and stuff. This all this gonna tumble and fall. All this gonna tumble and fall. What you want to look at is this great gargantuan background. See, these were cities built up to the sky that Yahweh destroyed. So Sodom is real. You see all that landscape back here? That's all destroyed. Let's skip through a couple of them. You see that salt? That's salt from sulfur from Yahweh killing people for being sodomites, bati boys, children hurters, animal hurters, people who abuse children, people who hurt animals. Sodom is real, y'all. Gomorrah is real. I remember what it smelled like. I remember the smell of it. And America's getting its judgment too. So just because they're floating because you cannot drown there. Yahweh is just our God. Awesome power we serve. So the point is to say, you know, the Dead Sea. So I was talking about the Dead Sea. So Dr. King visited the Judean Discovery Scroll. Dr. King visited where the Judean Discovery Scrolls were found at. That's what I tried to say. Please forgive me. So, and this is way before I ever. Who am I? Who are any of us? Who are any of us to speak on these elders who were attacked, bit, beaten, water hosed? We ain't gotten to none of that. I ain't even talked about none of that. So to not give the Zaquanium, the elders who came before us, respect, to not speak for their benefit when they gave their lives for our benefits, or for me to be such an immature, so passionate, I was so passionate, so zealous, but I was wrong. I was incorrect. So now what we do is we go back and say the Wadi Yahweh for the Zaquanium that were before us, who not only gave their lives, but they also had to fight against the Dukes of Hazzard. They had to stand in the face of the Confederate flag. They had to stand in the face of the police squad. Esau is the only ones who call themselves Dukes. All right. They are the Dukes of Hazzard. So I start to close down each one of these windows. All right. We see that our fathers were the original Hebrews, and we were lied to. King James, African-American, Negro, Hebrew royalty. Some people trip because there's a book where King James on demonology, but don't trip. That book is very beautiful. That book on demonology, it does not promote worship of demons or worship of unclean spirits. It actually promotes us to learn how to stay away from unclean spirits. It's a very beautiful part, very beautiful book. Right. So we see that the Gentile Goyim, they're the ones who call themselves in the Bible. It's in the Bible. It's right here. The Dukes of Edom. There's absolutely no way any of us that were alive at the time could have known that, excuse me, that were not alive at that time could have known the progression of these Gentiles, the progression of these heathens, or could have known that Caesar Borgia, who was also known as the Duke, would only do exactly what the Bible said they would do: rape, rob, murder, steal, kill, destroy. All right. We had no idea, no way of knowing. But now that we're in a time frame of seeing, now that we're in a time frame of not only being able to understand, what more do we need? All of the signs are before us. Once we get a chance to actually give respect, reverence, and even possibly repent. Some of us repent. Yeah, I messed up. I made a mistake, not only just on the teaching of Dr. King, but I made a lot of mistakes. But, my apologies, let me pause this. But on this specific day, I want to share a video with y'all. Okay? The video is called The Other America. It's another Dr. King speech. I highly doubt that the black women are going to teach their children today. They're not. I just highly doubt that, because I've seen the consistent pattern. But I also have hope that the Black woman would put herself aside and the Black man put themselves aside and actually show more love to their children and to their culture than to themselves. All right. I'm going to put this in here. Here's a link. The water for let me know. No picture. Oh, okay, man. Sure enough, I was going in too. I had all kind of stuff up there. Okay, throughout it. Man, once I be on that screen, I don't be knowing. My bad. So man, I went through all kind of stuff. Closed down each one of those windows too. They gone. The windows gone. They gone. All right. So we had this up though. All right. So overall, the information has been wonderful. It's been fun. It's been helpful to me. Dr. King, Dr. Martin Luther King, also known as Michael King, was not only, and I gotta say, man, was not only a Saquon, an elder. You know, he's also one that our grandmothers, our mothers, our forefathers, they lived to see. See, we didn't get lynched while going to school. We got jumped, we got beat up, we got in fights, we got to do stuff, but we didn't have to go through what our parents went through. So for them to hear about the murder and assassination, and I want to bring up some other stuff later, if I can find it and bring it up. I want to bring up some other stuff on Dr. King. I didn't consider not only my own immaturity, but I didn't consider the life of what these elders went through in their hardships. And guess what? It's not over for us. We're going to have to see and go through even more. So maybe one day somebody will sing a song, and maybe one day somebody will sit down and tell their children about something good that you did one day, maybe. So double honors to the elders, those who rule well, those who came before us. Here's a video. All right, this video is very beautiful. It's Dr. King's speech, The Other America. All right, there's something that you can do. There's something that you definitely can do. All right. You can set your Banium down, you can set your Benathium down, you can set your sons, your daughters down, and you can do something different. If they're not at school today because of Dr. Martin Luther King Day, then why let them sit there and be heathens? Why let them sit there and be Gentiles? Why let them sit there and not learn anything about your nationality? Matter of fact, if you want to do a deep dive study, research, contact me, because I'll be sitting here doing this and pulling up research. If you have anything you want to share with me, we can pull it out together. But it's imperative for our children to know this week's Torah portion, last week's Torah portion, was on Exodus, right? Last week's Torah portion was on Exodus chapter 1, I believe, through chapter 4. And that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the time frame of this age coming to an end, truth being brought out. And we desperately need our nation to work together. More so the women with the men. And you sisters, if you're holding on, keep holding on, because we're going to see a lot of sisters die. We're going to see a lot of sisters fall off spiritually, a lot of brothers, you know. So if you're holding on, keep holding on. There's two deaths. You have the physical death, you have the spiritual death. If you're not getting all the rewards that you think you want or need right now in this life, just keep waiting. Most are going to reward the next life. So I'm in this video. It's been long enough for me. If anybody needs me, you can hit me up. All right, WhatsApp 937-819-8266. Or you get me on Facebook, Messenger, all that good stuff. If I miss the messenger stuff, it's only because there's so many that come through. I don't see them all. All right. So with that being said, all right, spend some time. Teach your voice, man. All right. If you have the opportunity to, teach your friend. All right, call me Asherah.